All right, I know exactly why you clicked on this video. You probably saw the title, thought this was going to be another motivational video. You're already thinking about clicking off to find something else that gives you an instant dopamine hit, but I have a challenge for you. Just wait before you get that dopamine rush, because what I'm about to explain is the reason why 95% of people fail at building a successful agency, even when they have all of the right information. So here's what's happening in your brain right now. You're expecting an immediate gratification from this content. And if I don't deliver entertainment or excitement in the first 30 seconds, you're gone. You're gonna click off, watch some TikTok about how I made 50K in my first month. Pure dopamine, zero substance. The brutal truth is that need for constant dopamine is exactly what's preventing you from building a real business. You want the excitement watching agency success stories, but you don't want to do the boring work of learning the Facebook ads manager. You want to feel motivated about making money online, but you don't want to have those awkward discovery calls at the beginning with potential clients. This is the most important video I've ever made, because after watching this, you'll understand exactly why you keep starting and stopping, why you can't focus on building your agency, and how to fix it. But only if you can delay that dopamine gratification long enough to actually learn something. Now, let me explain what's killing agency dreams. When you do a high dopamine activity, like scrolling Instagram, looking at other people's success, or watching a day in the lifestyle content of entrepreneurs, and then you actually do the work like setting up a Facebook campaign or reaching out to prospect, your brain literally cannot focus. Think about it on a scale of 1 to 10. Watching success stories and lifestyle content is like a 7 or 8 on the dopamine scale, but doing actual agency work, learning targeting, writing the ad copy, having sales call, it's like a 2 or 3, right? Your brain learned to expect that higher level. So the real work feels boring and impossible. That's why you can spend hours watching YouTube videos about building agencies, but you can't focus for 20 minutes on actually creating a campaign for a potential client. You've trained your brain essentially to need that constant stimulation. And I see this with people trying to build agencies all the time. They'll watch my content, they'll get excited, think, I'm going to start tomorrow, spend 3 hours researching more about strategies instead of just messaging 5 businesses that are in their area. They're addicted to the planning phase because it feels productive without being uncomfortable. Let me be honest with you. Like in my journey, building this agency to 122K per month, most of the actual work was kind of boring as hell, right? Like learning Facebook ads manager, understanding audience targeting, writing ad copy that converts, none of that was exciting. When I was working 70 hours a week for 15 bucks an hour, I didn't want to spend my evenings learning digital marketing. I wanted to relax, watch Netflix, do anything except study campaign optimization, but I forced myself to do the boring work first. Then I got the dopamine reward after seeing results. The difference between me and people who quit is that I used dopamine as an amplifier, right? Not as an escape. When I successfully launched my first campaign for my landscaping business and saw leads coming in, that dopamine hit was incredible. But I earned it by doing the shitty work first, right? Most people do it backwards. They get their dopamine hit from watching success stories, then wonder why they can't execute when it's time to do the real work. Your brain is already satisfied from the content consumption. But here's the deeper issue. Most people procrastinate on building their agency because they don't have a clear enough vision that creates real motivation. They have this vague idea of making money online or financial freedom, but they can't tell you exactly what their life looks like when they're making 10K per month. Everyone asks me, do I need motivation or discipline? That's the wrong question. You need both, but motivation comes first. Without a clear vision that motivates you, trying to build discipline is like trying to push a boulder uphill. Here's how this applies to agency building. If your vision is just, I want to make money, that's not enough to get you through the uncomfortable parts. But if your vision is, I want to make $15,000 per month so I can move out of my parents' house, travel while working, and never have to ask anyone for money again, that's specific enough to create real motivation. And when I was starting out, my vision wasn't just success. It was very specific. I wanted to never work for someone else again. I wanted to help real businesses grow. And I wanted to prove that someone from my background could build something significant. And that vision pulled me through all of the boring work. This is crucial for agency building. You need to focus on the small wins that remind you your vision is possible. When you get a small win, your vision becomes reality for just a moment. That's what keeps you going. In agency building, your small win isn't landing a $5,000 client. It's successfully creating your first Facebook ad that actually looks professional, right? Your next small win is getting one business business owner to respond to your outreach. Then it's booking your first discovery call. Then it's presenting your strategy without stuttering. Each small win is proof that your bigger vision is achievable. But most people skip these small wins because they're not exciting enough. They just want to jump straight to the 10K months without celebrating the fact that they finally learned how to target audiences properly. I track small wins because with my students, without them, people quit when they hit the first obstacle. But when you have a series of small wins building up, you start to believe the bigger wins are inevitable. Here's something most people don't understand about building an agency. The goal isn't just making money. It's creating leverage. Leverage means getting outcomes without direct input, making money while you sleep, having systems that work for you. But I see so many people who think they're building agencies when they're really just creating a high-paying job for themselves. They're making 20K or even 50K a month, but they're working 80 hours a week, managing every single campaign, being on every call with the clients, doing everything themselves. They're not entrepreneurs. They're just expensive freelancers. Like, real agency building means you eventually implement systems and hire people so you can get results without doing all the work yourself. The problem is most people want the leverage without doing the foundation work. They want to hire a team before they even understand how to deliver the results themselves. They want passive income before they've proven they can create active income. So here's how real agency growth actually works. First, you need a clear vision that creates motivation. From that motivation, you take action. Maybe it's reaching out to 10 businesses in your area. You get an outcome from that action, maybe 2 responses. 8 people ignore you. Fuck it, who cares? From that outcome, you get data. The data tells you what's working and what isn't. Maybe your messages are too generic or you're targeting the wrong type of business. But based on that data, you make a better decision for your next action. This cycle, motivation, action, outcome, data, better action, is how you build a successful agency. But most people want to skip the uncomfortable parts, right? They want the data without taking the action. They want better outcomes without going through failures. I still use this cycle today. When I try a new strategy for client acquisition or campaign optimization, I don't expect it to work perfectly. I expect the data to get better and help me make better decisions. People always say, I need discipline, not motivation. That's backwards. Why would you need to be disciplined about something you're not motivated to do? That's setting yourself up for failure. Here's what actually works. Create motivation first through a clear vision of your agency's success. Use that motivation to take action consistently. As you take action and see the small wins, you develop discipline. When the initial motivation fades, and it will, the discipline you've built keeps going. In agency building, this means you need to know why you're doing this beyond just the money. Money's a result, not a purpose. Maybe you want freedom to work from anywhere. Maybe you want to help local businesses grow. Maybe you want to prove something to yourself. Whatever it is, that deeper motivation is going to carry you through the technical learning and the rejection from the prospects, the failed campaigns, and all the other uncomfortable parts of building a real agency. So let me be completely honest for a second. And I still struggle with this stuff. You probably see my content and think my life is perfect, right? The money I make, the success stories, the lifestyle, it's not even close to perfect. I still procrastinate every single day. I still sometimes choose easy dopamine over hard work. I still have to fight my brain's desire for instant gratification. The difference is I recognize it and I have systems to deal with it. Building a 122K per month agency doesn't solve the human condition, right? It just gives you more resources to deal with it. But the fundamentals, delaying gratification, focusing on the boring work, celebrating the small wins, those never change. Here's your choice, right? You can make the right decisions fast the first 2 ways. First, you can learn from someone who's already been through the pain. This compresses your learning timeline from years to months. Or second, you can go through all the failures yourself, right? Try to figure out Facebook ads alone, make every mistake possible, waste money on campaigns that don't work, lose potential clients because you don't know how to sell it properly. Both paths work, but one takes a little bit longer and costs a shit ton more money. So most people choose the second path because they think they can figure this shit out on their own. Life isn't complicated. It's about taking action, gathering data, and making better decisions. But don't be stupid and make the same mistake over and over again. So here's what you need to do now if you actually want to build an agency instead of just watching videos about building an agency, instead of watching videos about building an agency. So here's what to do right now if you actually want to build an agency instead of just watching videos about building agencies. First, turn off all the distractions. Close that shit out. TikTok, horrible. Close Instagram. Put your phone in another room if you have to. That real work comes before dopamine reward. Second, write down your specific vision, right? Not make money. It's bullshit. But exactly what your life looks like when your agency is successful. Where are you working, right? What does your day look like? Who are you helping? Be specific. Third, choose one boring but necessary task task and do it for 25 minutes. Maybe it's researching businesses in your niche. Maybe it's learning Facebook Ads Manager. Maybe it's writing your first outreach message. Something that moves you forward but doesn't give you instant gratification. Fourth, only after you complete that task, allow yourself some dopamine. Watch a success story, check your social media, whatever, but earn that dopamine first. Here's my challenge for you. For the next 7 days, flip your dopamine schedule. Do the hard agency work first, learning, creating, reaching out, then reward yourself with the entertainment content afterwards, okay? Most of you won't do this because it's uncomfortable. You watch this video, feel motivated for about 10 minutes, then go back to consuming content that makes you feel motivated or productive without actually being productive. But if you're one of the ones that actually want to implement this, you'll notice something interesting. The hard work becomes easier and the dopamine hits from your small wins become more satisfying than anything you can watch online, because building an agency isn't about having perfect motivation every day. It's about understanding how your brain works and structuring your environment so that productive action becomes easier than the passive consumption. The businesses that need your help are out there right now. The tools to reach them are available. The only question is whether you're going to keep consuming content about success or starting it yourself or start creating it yourself. Comment below and tell me what's one boring but necessary task you're going to do before you watch another video. Then actually do it, because that's how you separate yourself from the 95% of people who just watch and never take action.